Welcome back to the Boosted Ride YouTube channel. If you didn't watch the last episode, we did a little bit of shop organization. So we got a few things to finish straightening out there yet. And also went ahead and got the LS motor set in the F100 and got the shocks put in the rear of both the Death Trap and the new LS F100. So next up, we did get the overnighted motor plates. We got a brand new front and a brand new mid plate there. So what the goal is we're going to zip off these front components. Well, I guess basically the water pump. We'll zip that off there. Take out the few countersunk Allen bolts that are holding on this motor plate. This is a two-piece kit. And then we'll get this new one set on there. I think we're going to have to cut the width down. We can work at getting the mounts put in here, these plates in, the front mounts. And then the biggest thing is we need to get rear or mid mounts made to go from the frame to that mid plate when we get it put in. So let's go ahead and get this stuff zipped off, get the new front plate on, and we'll go from there. All right, so went ahead and measured the inside of the frame here. This new motor plate's 36 wide, so we're going to cut it off and give us about a ½ inch of extra clearance, hoping that we can put it in the old jet here. So we'll go ahead and get this fired up, lay it in there flat, and cut about 3 1/8 off. There you go. Yeah, that way. It's going to be a tight squeeze. We'll get it in.
Good enough for who it's for.
So as you've seen there, went ahead and got these just for now somewhat stitched in there, both on the back bottom and the front top and bottom on both driver's and passenger side. Also went ahead, as you've seen, cut the motor plate down to our 27.5 inches wide, and then we'll drill the holes and everything after we get the brackets welded in the frame, because our brackets for the frame are already pre-drilled with holes. So now we're going to get this back in there, and if all of our measurements are right, it should fit between the frame rails, and then we can weld our mounts in, and this baby will be going in. I shouldn't say permanently, it's got to come back out, but it'll have a permanent home for when it goes back in for the final time. Huh. Well, that's not good.
Look at this.
Oh.
That might help.
Maybe the screws just backed out. Another power tool down, Jason. Maybe we'll just...
not replacing this one.
Yeah, I got that one at a yard sale anyway, so... Alright, what do we got now? Oh yeah! We can fill it in with weld.
See how crooked you got it? Yeah.
Fits flat against the motor plate now.
Yep. Yeah, it does.
And flat against the motor plate on the bottom, so we can tack her in.
Yeah. Chicken scratching out here. Look this down.
Yep. We're gonna go ahead and let the motor down. So here's the little concept. Well, here, we'll see if it holds up first.
Yeah.
Jason tacked it if it breaks.
The front? No, I didn't do any of it, I guess.
Alright, well, held up. So I guess those are my tacks then. Alright, so the concept behind this is I'm not gonna lie, we watched a lot of Kevin with KSR. Obviously you guys are familiar with him, I'm sure. But these tabs here that I didn't mention before, I said I'd explain. Motor plate's obviously gonna sit on that. There's bolt holes in this plate here that we're gonna drill. So when we need to pull the motor out, we've got 4 corners that are sitting on tabs. So after we take the bolts out, we'll have enough material there, hopefully they're long enough, to slide the motor ahead on those tabs and be able to lift it up. So that way when we're reinstalling the motor, it's no question of getting the torque converter lined up or dowel pins into the transmission bell housing. We can set it down on those 4 tabs, slide the motor back in, and it'll be good to go. So now, I think, probably transmission crossmember we need to work on next, down underneath there. Obviously it's supported now because it's bolted to the motor and the motor's got the mid plate, but we definitely want to come up with something there, and I think I got some in mind for that, so that's next on the list. It's now Friday night. Jason and I were working on the truck tonight, and as you can see, the motor's back out. So we pulled the motor out so I could, one, weld our new motor plates in on the front and back side of those. And then we had a little bit of a gap inside the frame here, as you can see. I'm not too worried about that. Welded that side and the front one. We can't put any weld up here unless we wanted to grind it out, because our motor plate goes pretty much out to this outside plate. And then we also went ahead and got all of our holes drilled. So we got 2 front and back on each side. And I'm not gonna lie, we actually had to cut the tacks off of these and move them back because we didn't have these brackets on the motor plate yet, and it was actually kind of bowed out in the front on this side, actually both sides. So we wanted to recut those so that way this is 100% with this bolted on solid. Sits directly where it needs to be, all 4 of them up against those pads. So I think now we're gonna go ahead and reinstall the motor and see how easy it is to actually do. All right, so we're back in the shop, got the motor sat back in. Worked pretty slick, other holes lined up. And yeah, we're kind of just going over a list of things, and we had to pull one of the seats down off the shelf there, so I kind of sat it up on some boards. I'll give it a shot, see what it looks like.
Probably won't fit me. Probably knock it over.
Small guy seat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're trying to utilize things we got around the shop, because we got quite a... Whoa. How's that rat-infested headliner? We got quite a few things laying around the shop, so utilize what we can, but no, that looks pretty good. By the time you get your helmet on, you'll have plenty of headroom, yep. So we'll just leave it on top of the 4x4s. It'll look good.
Probably.
Take the seat out with you. Before we wrap the video, guys, I just want to do one last thing, and that is actually mounting the Terminator X harness. Well, not the harness, the actual computer itself. So the idea for this is, we're thinking since we replaced this panel right here, a good ideal place would be we can just mount it right here. So I think what we're going to do, mount that quick, but what I'm going to use, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with a riv nut tool. I'm sure a lot of you are. If you're not, what it is you drill a hole for the proper size riv nut, and it's almost like a rivet tool. It's basically the same exact thing, except you thread it onto the actual riv nut itself. Looks just like some of your rivet guns. I do have another one that's a 90-degree one. And then you take your size here, which we're going to be using 1/4 20. So you put that on the end here, which the 1/4 20 is already on. Thread your riv nut on. Put the entire gun through the hole with the thing and squeeze the handles together. And then you can unthread this in here out of your riv nut, and you're good to go. It actually just smashes it on this knurled part right here, kind of just pulls that and sandwiches the material that you're going through. And I've got 1/4 20 right here, so good to go. So I'm going to mark that out, put that Terminator on there, and we'll get some holes drilled, use our riv nut tool, and get that mounted. So just to give a quick demo here, went ahead and drilled 2 holes. I've already gone ahead and installed a couple up here. So you just take your riv nut, as I said before, and actually thread it on 2 here. Okay, so I got the jaws open, threaded on all the way, because when you squeeze these together, it's going to pull that threaded part in. And then you just go ahead, insert that in the hole, and squeeze the handles, which I'll do now. Alright, and once you squeeze the handles, you can just, this runs the threaded part inside there. Just go ahead and spin that out. And then once this is backed out all the way, you've got a nut inside of sheet metal inside of a blind hole. Now, ours is not a blind hole because, one, you could get in here, or two, in the massive rust hole that's on the outside there. But this would be, in any case, what you would do if you were trying to hide some stuff or go into an area, again, where you couldn't get on the back side. And they do make really nice nuts. The biggest thing is that I've noticed, if you're going through thicker material, when you squeeze this down, this is pretty thin, like 16 gauge or something. But if you're going through thicker, say 1/4 inch material or something, you definitely want to be careful when you're squeezing this together. Like on this 16 gauge, you can actually squeeze these handles completely together and not have an issue. If you're going through thicker material and you squeeze these handles really hard and force them together, this will actually pull the threads inside the insert and it'll roll the threads over and you'll have a messed up nutsert. So speaking from experience, I have done that on another project before, but again, thin sheet metal like this stuff, 16, 18 gauge, you can put the handles all the way together and not have any issues with anything. And then now I just got to insert one more and we can get the terminator screwed up there. And just like that, the terminator is mounted. The only thing I might add is a rubber washer between there. I mean, I don't know if it's good to have these things solid mounted or not. In the death trap, I put them on some of the isolator stands, which space it off of whatever it was screwed to, about a 1/2 inch. Don't necessarily like that, but this is going to keep our wiring going straight towards the firewall. And the plan is to actually run it to the center over here and possibly even cut the harness and put a bulkhead in. Need to go ahead and also add the EGT module right here, or possibly back here. I just don't want it in the way of the wiring. But I think that's going to be a wrap on today's video, guys. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. Again, we appreciate each and every one of you guys. In the next episode, I think we're going to focus on cutting that box and got something else in store as far as the engine. So stay posted for that one. It's going to be something that I didn't plan on doing, but I think you guys will enjoy this one. So if you guys like horsepower or making big power with a blower, I'll keep you informed on what we're planning to do. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again.